Hi everybody, YeOldeSim here. Thanks for following along and watching my speed build. I wanted to build this super cute, whimsical little peasant cottage for my decades challenge. I'm making all sorts of different builds for decades. This one is going to be a cottage where peasants harvest flowers and sell them or trade them for means of supporting themselves. Now, people tend to think that peasants were dirty and smelly and gross and all that sort of business. And they were to a point, but they also used flowers for a lot of things like cooking, medicines, religious purposes, and also for smelling good. They'd use it in the house or just to carry on them. So flowers had many purposes in medieval times, which a lot of people don't know. So for this build, I am going to see in my gameplay how that'll work out. We'll see, because flowers in The Sims you can only harvest at certain times and certain seasons, so we might need to do a little side hustle sometimes, but I just wanted to try it out. This build is super cute, and here we go. I'm making the floor plans here. I had a picture off of Pinterest, and it was kind of laid out this way, how I'm building right now, but I end up changing a lot of the build. I just have to let my creative juices flow, and my creative juices are a little chaotic, like I would say piping under a house that's leaky. The drips are everywhere, and freaking find those chaotic juices wherever you can. So but yeah, here we are making the pond for fishing and bathing. I am obsessed, if you've seen like maybe some of my other builds, I'm obsessed with these fountains, rocky fountains, whatever, from Riviera Retreat. They are one of my favorites to use. They're just so aesthetically pleasing, if you will. And then this is probably also where they'll get their water to water their garden, if you will. I do play test all my builds. I like to do it while I'm building, hence the little play tester that's on the lot. Oh, here I am changing up the build. This is more of the shape that it's going to be permanently. So, and then I just need to get a sense of the layout and lay some things down in order to kind of figure out what's gonna be what. This really helps me in the process of building. So those are some of my favorite beds for peasant houses, just because they're so patchy. But yeah, I do end up getting rid of those stairs though and sloping it a little later on, but I'm trying to figure it out right now. So more about flowers in medieval times. I know what was most popular was rose water to use for like washing hands and everything, and bathing. I don't know what flowers that peasants would really have access to. I didn't know if it was more for nobility. I know like for religious purposes monks used them. I know they used the flowers in salads, to make sweet treats. I don't know who had access to like sugar to make the sweet treats. But for the Sims purposes, we're going to sell them wherever we can, just to make that money, so we don't starve. But, oh, there's some of my favorite wallpaper too. So cute. And the windows from the fairy pack, I absolutely love them. They're so whimsical and they fit so well with this build. Let's see. The roofing, I love to try to do special shapes with the roof, and if you press Shift and C, you can get the extra little toggles to move the roofing. which is fun. So then you can create more unique shapes. I know roofing's kind of boring, but once it's all finished, it just adds a little extra to the build, which I love. I wanted this to be, I mean, it's not like the most realistic, but whimsical and fairy-esque, I guess. And I do use a lot of the fairies pack with building too, because it's just so super cute. Although I do wish we had gotten more like old-fashioned type build stuff. Not necessarily with fairies, but just anything. I usually have to make my own custom build stuff. Like sometimes I'll do custom toilets, mostly stoves and sinks is what I always do. Sometimes it's pretty annoying having to make that stuff, but in the end it turns out really cute. And there's our little outhouse there that I'm doing the roof with. I changed the shape of that. I have to make it a little bigger so I can fit everything inside, like the fireplace and tub and toilet. So I end up having to change that. I don't really build first and then build it again because I feel like my attention would just not tolerate that. My attention span cannot put up with that stuff, like building and demolishing and then rebuilding again. So you're gonna have to just watch me change stuff up and just be surprised. Like, there you go. Oh, it was like that, now it's like this. There we go. So here we go with the terrain paint. I wanted some cute little like cobblestone, but it's hard to find the right terrain paint, so I usually just use like 5 different terrain paints and see how they look and then end up picking one. Or I'll just put I'll put it on the lightest, fuzziest setting. I'll have a terrain paint base layer and then I'll put another one on the lightest, fuzziest setting and then go over it like a little bit patchy, just so it has a different kind of look to it, because sometimes it just looks so patterned and fake and unreal, and I really don't like that. So I like to play with my terrain paint and mix it up a lot to make it look more realistic. But here I am trying different fireplaces in the bathroom, and I realize that there is not that much room in this bathroom. So I'm going to play with it a lot more. I had the idea of using an outhouse instead, but then you have to put a bath inside the house, and there's not that much room inside the house for a bath. So I end up making the bathroom bigger to fit everything. And then I have my go-to toilet. I didn't do a custom toilet this time by raising stuff up from the basement. That part is, toilets are a little difficult for doing custom toilets. Like stoves, they're difficult, but they're easier and more realistic looking. And sinks are easier too for me. Just toilets are not. But here we are doing some landscaping. This build is mainly like chaotic landscaping. I go back and forth with doing building and then landscaping, building, landscaping, which I cut a lot of that out because like I was saying, my creative juices are chaotic. But here's all the flowers that I wanted all around the house. I wanted it super whimsical so they can go and pick flowers for their livelihood to sell to whoever, the church, nobility, just to other peasants too, depending on the type of flower. I would imagine some would be more expensive than the others. And I do end up leaving room later on to plant flowers around the flowers, so it looks like you're just picking from them a little bit, which is fun. So here I am doing the fencing. I'm using debug fencing. I try to use a lot of debug stuff. Well, for one, debug fencing you can move a lot easier than the regular in-game fencing. and debug items are a lot cheaper, so they don't contribute to the cost of the build as much as non-debug items would. And here I am still trying to do landscaping with the rocks around, and I just really didn't like the fit of the rocks with the moss on top. It didn't fit to me. So I chose the other kind instead, and I have to move them around and use tool to do that. I'm not going to show you the whole process of moving everything around with tool because it's in-depth and quite tedious to watch me place all the rocks all around and move it around with tool. So yeah, and if you see things that are different in the build, just know that when I was playtesting, I had to move things around a lot because it was extremely annoying. Because some of the items had a footprint that got in the Sim's way, and I had to move it around because the Sim couldn't get to the bathroom because some of the rock was in the way underneath, and oh my word. I don't know if you guys have built before, but that is the worst part of building in The Sims, is playtesting and having to rearrange everything, especially if it looks good. Especially if you're super happy with the outcome, and then come to find out your Sim cannot walk any place because something underground is in their way. So, I just had to go on a little tangent there. But here's our garden with our flowers all around, and I'll plant some of the in-game flowers to harvest around there too. I wanted it, you can't make it look like it so much. I wanted it to look like they were harvesting straight from the flowers, but I know you can't put like some of the garden plants in with the flowers or they wouldn't be able to get to them. So I put them on the outside of the garden eventually, so it kind of looks like they've gone picking their flowers to sell. But here I'm doing the terrain paint. I think later on I have to redo the terrain paint because of leaving the game and coming back. But sometimes I use the garden beds, but I mostly like terrain paint. Like here I am doing my different layers. That's like my favorite to do, so it just looks like layered earth. I like that a lot better. But sometimes I do like to use the, what is it, seasons? Or is it, I don't remember what pack comes with those little garden plots. Sometimes I use those, like for field looks too sometimes. But I mainly like to use terrain paint. I am doing the back of the house with some landscaping too, because it can't be bald, it can't be naked. So it's gotta look a little cute too. I do end up changing the rocks in the back though, because the kids couldn't get to their bed inside. So I had to move the rocks around the back and change what kind of rocks they were. Oh, and I changed the pond too because I realized I wanted that cute damn wheel to pump water up into the bathroom for the Sims. So I made it a little bit bigger. And there's our cute little chicken coop right there with my little play tester to get it all ready for us. I love placing hay under the chicken coop too. I think it makes it more realistic also. And then I'm making a little side area for whatever, if you want a horse, if you want sheep and goats, that's fine too. I plan on having a specific family in here, and I have a plan for some gameplay. And there's those cute little windows on the bathroom too. They're nice and wide open, so you can see right in. There's our crafting table in case you want to get some handiness. Sell some carpentry as a side hustle, because hopefully we make enough money on the flowers. Cross our fingers and toes. There we go with our debug fence again, because I tried the regular in-game fence and it didn't line up properly, so we had to do the debug fence. There we go. That color of the windows matches a lot more. I like that. Super bright, super cute build. I just love it. Oh, I gotta remember laundry baskets because in my last build I forgot laundry baskets. Whatever, they can throw their laundry on the floor. They'll work up to buying a laundry basket, I guess. There's our, what is it? Flower table to make our flower arrangements to sell. And then there's a cute little picnic blanket I have in with the flower garden. So you can lay and look at the sky with whoever you would like to, stargaze, watch the sky, snuggle, woohoo, perhaps a little woohoo in the blanket in the field of flowers. Super cute. I just wanted the blanket kind of nestled in there to give it the ambiance of romance. So I really love that idea. And you can do a little picnic in the middle of the flowers, do a little woohoo, whatever you want. And here I am laying down the flowers to plant, and I'm having my chickadee plant the flowers. So this is kind of like as close as you can get them to where it looks like you're picking the flowers with the other flowers. Decorating the pond. The cute little ducks. I love the logs. If you click on the log and you allow the turtles to sunbathe, the little turtle will come up and sunbathe. And if you click on the lily pad, you can allow frogs to be on the lily pad. So it just adds some realness to the build that I like. And then I do add a little fishing sign so you can fish too. And there I am making the turtles and frogs come out. That's one of my favorite parts, and I love the bunnies too. I just love all the cute little cottage items. There's our fishing sign. And there's our prairie grass. I usually put them in the garden all the time for my Sims to harvest for their animals. Oh, and I decided I wanted that cute little table with a lantern on it. Just so we can see. Just so we can see when we're kissing in the garden. And there's a cute little sitting spot right outside the window that I'm going to add stuff where you can knit and do cross stitch. I always have to have that in game because peasants got to knit their stuff to wear and sew their stuff. So I do end up having to change that little table, that little crate table, because at an angle my Sim couldn't walk by it, but if I made it straight then she could walk by it. Super annoying, but whatever. And then I do this in like every one of my builds for my chicken coops. I do a little stool with a lantern and a little basket to collect eggs. I know I do it in like every one of my builds, but I don't care. I am obsessed with the way it looks. I think it's so cute. And here I am making little lanterns right outside the door. This just looks super cute and medieval-ish too. These little hanging lanterns right there. Those kind I don't think are the brightest, but whatever. Still, I just love the look of it. So, and then I'll do one outside the bathroom too. I did add goats because I wanted to see if they could eat the hay and be in the little bed too. They are also one of my favorite parts. Everything's my favorite part. I love everything. So here I am making the little lantern outside of the bathroom too, so they can see. And hopefully if you have it lit up, they won't get like scared and paranoid in the dark, which is one of the most annoying emotions they get, or whatever it's called. But I don't know, I think they still get scared and paranoid of the dark. So here's the flower beds I put out there too. I always have problems with the flower beds glitching. They annoy me so bad. So I planted all the flowers. out of the beds and then put the flowers in the beds. So there we go. That's how you gotta do it. And here is our custom tub, and it's all play tested. It works. I made it so they're collecting their own rainwater and whatnot. And here's our toilet. I end up having to move the toilet to like the right because it cannot be underneath the window. I don't know what it is about the window, but it cannot be under there. And I was so annoyed by how it didn't work. But here we are. We live and we don't really learn because The Sims just does its own thing whenever it wants to. So here's our little toiletries and vases to pour water or scented oils on ourselves. Scented oils we made with the flowers. Right above the bath. So there we are glitching out while we're lowering our little bowl of flower petals to sprinkle in our bath water. And there's just some extra flowers I put around. I do this in a lot of builds. I put flowers by the bath in little baskets, or on the counter I'll put like little veggies and herbs in baskets. I just like the way it looks. And here is one of my custom stoves that I just have in my library, so I can just upload it into whatever build I want, and I don't have to build them over and over again. So, and then the top of it's kind of sticking up, so I go and I fix that with some more of the rocks right here, just because I didn't really like the way that looked. So perfect. Getting the kitchen in order. I use the Henford, the cottage living fridge in like every build. That's really the only old-fashioned one we have, so it's gonna be in probably all my decades builds. And I use those counters a lot with the shelves because I love putting stuff in the shelves to make it look more realistic, like the pots they use and the plates and those herbs I use all the time too. Oh, look at herbs from the garden, flowers from the garden. There's some of their dishes on the wall. So here I am just cluttering it up like always. I use those cute little earthenwares to put our greens and oils in for their cooking that they use. And I do end up moving those because I have a hell of a time fitting a table in this tiny little kitchen. I tell you what, I cut it out, all that footage, because it was a lot of footage fighting with the table, getting it to fit. So I usually size stuff up or down and put them in those little, in the pottery. It's super cute, especially with flour and wheat, whatever grains they may use in those times. I usually use like all the treat little pouches from the Henford pack. What is it? Cottage Living. I'll use those, size them up, and put them in the earthenwares to make it look more realistic. I love that. What is it? Brazen Lotus? Is that who made that kit? I don't know if I'm wrong, but I love those vegetables. So, like I was saying, I like to use baskets and just get like the garden vegetables and put them in baskets to make it look cute and realistic, but that saves me a lot of time with that little kit. Let's see, and what else? Oh, there's the mortar and pestle. That's really cute too. I like that in the game. I like the more realistic, like newer items that have come out. They help these builds a lot. So, oh, there's the little bird cage that I wanted to put there, but there's not enough room in this kitchen for that little bird cage, and I like to use that little bird cage a lot actually in my builds. And I put like the ducks, the decorative ducks in there, like they have ducks that they're going to eat or something but I use that in one of my other builds that I just recorded, so you'll see how I use those. Oh, here I had to change the door because the other one was too big to fit a table in here. And I don't end up actually using this table because my sim got stuck in the corner behind the chair. She could get in and sit in the chair, but she could not get out. Make it make sense? I don't know. So I ended up having to change the table because she got stuck in it and couldn't get out. So here we are. Let's see, am I going to, yeah, I'm going to make the custom sink right about now. We're going to go to the basement and make a room, and we highlight the room and go back to the top so we can see where it needs to be for our item. And then we always have to make sure there's light in there. If not, then the item we have raised up to the first floor will be dark. So it needs to be light in that room under there. So there's our barrel that collects the rainwater. It's going to be full of water. And I'm looking for that fountain from Horse Ranch. I always forget it's in the fountains. You can't go to show all and it's in there. So there's that. We size down the sink. We can see it in the back, so we can still click on it if we need. She can wash her hands, as you see. And there's our little pipe that collects the water. So perfect. I love doing those type of sinks, are my favorite. I also do another type of custom sink. It's definitely more lazy because I don't have to raise anything up from the basement. But yeah, I tried to get something to fit over the door, something cute, but I couldn't find anything that I liked. So I wanted it to work, but it wasn't working out for me. And that was the end of that. So we are in the master bedroom, making the parents' bedroom. There's a adventure awaits fireplace, and we decided against the platform for the fireplace. Wasn't working out. So there's our cute little whimsical handcrafted bed for our infants and our newborns. And I think that bed goes with it perfectly. The fairies bed is a little bit too fancy for a peasant home. Depending, I guess, on what mood I'm in, maybe I'll let my peasants have a fancy bed, but not this time. It's still a nice bed for a peasant home. I guess I haven't said this yet, but all my builds that I put up on the gallery are CC free. So this is CC free, and I do make some CC builds, but you'd have to it's a lot with updating mods and stuff, so most of like the medieval stuff I get off of the Sims resource and CurseForge. I use like Simverses and stuff, but there we go. This bedroom is coming along. Couldn't find, I mean, I like that rug. It doesn't go so well, but we just used the hand woven one. I like that one pretty good. Wanted a rocking chair in front of the fire so mom can knit her baby's clothes by the fire. That's one of my most favorite features too in the game, is the knitting for like the newborn onesies. I just cheat every time I raise them up to level 10 so that they can make the newborn clothes, because I don't got time to wait for them to get to level 10. They're gonna die before they get to level 10 in game, so you better believe I'm cheating that skill. Now we are in the children's room and getting that all put together. We're almost at the end of our build. So here we go. Yeah, I got the trunks for them to store their stuff in. There's the little art desk. The laundry basket I kept having to move around. I couldn't find a place for it. I do end up moving that desk after I have to move the beds around because the rocks in the back, but it all works out nice in the end. I did give them a little desk for like a journal is what I'm going to put down now. Not all peasants were illiterate, by the way. I think what I heard is one of the meanings of illiterate for peasants was they didn't speak or read Latin, because that was only for the church and like the sacred word of the Bible text. So I don't know if that's true. You can let me know or not in the comments. But oh, there's our little chamber pot and some toys to keep them entertained. And let's see, the kids in my testing probably took all the toys, so you guys will have to lay the toys down again. Oh well. And here is a desk for the parents to write at too. I thought it was weird that only the kids would have a desk to write at. I do end up changing that table because my Sims tried to eat at that table, which was extremely annoying. So I changed it to a desk instead. Yeah, there's our little journal. And oh, just making the finishing touches on the decor and clutter. So those baskets are super cute, by the way. And I thought those fairy, see, a lot of the fairy stuff fit really well with this build, even though there's mushrooms on it. We'll just ignore that. But the shape of it I really like for the whimsical look too. And I really like those baskets for this. Oh, I had moved the beds to the side in the kitchen when I was deciding what bed I wanted to use for the parents' room. I usually do that. I'll get out like 3 beds and just move them to random rooms in the house, and then have to be like, oh yeah, I put that there. Oh, there's marbles for the kids. I don't have like too much for the kids to use for like play. I just have toys and marbles. And the woohoo blankets are functional too. I did end up moving the rocking chair in the parents' room out of the way, so they could woohoo on that bare rug a little easier. But here I'm putting the fairies' little flower press on this table so they could make art with their flowers too. I thought that would be a nice touch. So not only can they sell their flowers, they can make other stuff with their flowers too. Oh, and here's their little sales table. And it looks like this is the end of the build. Thanks for following along. Enjoy the screenshots at the end. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.